Hello, we are continuing Love That Dog. Today we are starting off, if you're following along, on page 25. The date is January 24th. We were going for a drive and my father said, "We won't be gone long, you come too." And so I went and we drove until we stopped at a red brick building with a sign in blue letters, Animal Protection Shelter. And inside we walked down a long cement path past cages, and for what are in those cages, with all kinds of dogs, big and small, fat and skinny. Can you visualize that in your head? Some of them hiding in the corner, but most of them barking, and jumping up against the wire cage as we walked past, as if they were saying, me, choose me, I'm the best. And that's where we saw the yellow dog standing against the cage with his paws curled around the wire and his long red tongue hanging out and his big black eyes looking a little sad and his long tail wagging as if he were saying, me, choose me. And we did. We chose him. And in the car, he put his head against my chest and wrapped his paws around my arm as if he were saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the other dogs in the cages get killed dead if nobody chooses them. Gosh, that's sad. January 31st, yes, you can type up what I wrote about my yellow dog, but leave off the part about the other dogs getting killed dead because that's too sad. And don't put my name on it, please. And maybe it would look good on yellow paper. And maybe the title should be You Come Too. February 7th, yes, it looks good on yellow paper, but you forgot, again, to leave more space between the lines like I did when I wrote it. That's okay, though. He's kind of bossy. February 15th. I like that poem we read today about street music in the city. I'm going to turn to, street music. Oh, this one's written so cool. Look what it looks like. Street Music by Arnold Adolphe. This city, the always noise grinding up from the subways underground, slamming from bus tires and taxi horns and engines of cars and trucks and all, vocabularies of clash, flash, screeching hot metal language combinations, as planes overhead roar, an orchestra of rolling drums and battle blasts assaulting my ears with the always noise of the city. Street music. I like that poem we read about street music in the city. My street is not in the middle of the city, so it doesn't have that loud music of horns and trucks, clash, flash, screech. My street is on the edge of a city, and it has quiet music most of the time. Wisp, meow, swish. My street is thin. Look at the word thin. One is a thin one with houses on both sides, and my house is the white one with a red door. And there is not too much traffic on my street, not like in the middle of a city. We play in the yards and sometimes in the street, but only if a grown-up or the big kids are out there too. And they will shout out, "Car!" if they see a car coming down our street. At both ends of our street are yellow signs that say, "Caution, children at play," but sometimes the cars pay no attention and speed down the road as if they are in a big hurry with many miles to go before they sleep. Can you make a connection? What's your street like? I live on a really small cul-de-sac, so you have to make like a U-turn. You can't connect it. So my street's really quiet. And if I go out there, it's usually just some neighbors out there, or there's people walking or running or riding bikes, but it's very quiet. I don't hear all of the loudness of cars. February 21st. That was so great, those poems you showed us where the words make the shape of the thing that the poem is about, like the one about an apple that was shaped like an apple and the one about the house that was shaped like a house. My brain is popping when I was looking at those poems. I never knew a poet could do that funny kind of thing. I'm going to show you this apple one. Look at that. And if you look really closely, it just says, the first line just says over and over, apple, 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 apple yum, apple yum, apple yum, apple, juicy, 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 crunchy, 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 crunchy. Isn't that cool? February 26th. I tried one of those poems that looks like what it's about. My Yellow Dog. See, he tried to make his yellow dog. And it kind of just says head, head, body, body, tail, tail, body, eye, ear, leg, leg. March 1st, yes, you can type up the yellow dog poem. That looks like a dog, but this time keep the spaces exactly the same, and maybe it would look really, really good on yellow paper. Maybe you could put my name on it, but only if you want to, only if you think it looks good enough. He's getting a little more confidence about himself as a poet. March 7th. I was a little embarrassed when people said things to me like, neat poem, Jack, and how'd you think of that, Jack? And I really, really like the one you put up about the tree that is shaped like a tree, not a fake looking tree, but like a real tree with straggly branches. But I want to know, who is the anonymous poet in our class who wrote that? And why didn't he or she want to put his name or her name on it? Isn't that interesting? He was just doing that for the whole beginning of the year, and now he wants to know who's the anonymous person. Maybe you will tell the anonymous tree poet that his or her tree poem is really a poem. It's really, really a poem, and a good poem too. March 14th. That was the best poem you read yesterday by Mr. Walter Dean Myers, and the best poem ever. Oh my gosh, we have to read this one. You ready? Love that boy. Love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. I said I love that boy like a rabbit loves to run. Love to call him in the morning. Love to call him, hey there, son. That is cute. I am sorry I took the book home without asking. I only got one spot on it. That's why the page is torn. I tried to get the spot out. I copied that best poem and hung it on my bedroom wall right over my bed where I can see it when I'm lying down. Maybe you could copy it too and hang it on the wall in our class where we can see it when we are sitting at our desks doing stuff. I sure liked that poem by Mr. Walter Dean Myers called Love That Boy because of two reasons. I liked it. One is because my dad calls me in the morning just like that. He calls, hey there, son. And also because when I had a yellow dog, I loved that dog, and I would call him like this. I'd say, hey there, Sky. His name was Sky. March 22nd. My yellow dog followed me everywhere. Every which way I turned, he was there wagging his tail and slobber coming out of his mouth when he was smiling. Can you visualize that? When he was smiling at me all the time as if he was saying, thank you for choosing me. And jumping up on me, his shaggy, straggly paws on my chest, like he was trying to hug the insides right out of me. And when us kids were playing outside, kicking the ball, he'd chase after it and push it with his nose, push, and getting slobber all over the ball. But no one cared because he was such a funny dog. That dog, Sky, that straggly, furry, smiling dog, Sky. And I'd call him every morning, hey there, Sky. March 27th. Yes, you can type up what I wrote about my dog, Sky, but don't type up the other secret one I wrote, the one all folded up in the envelope with tape on it. That one uses too many of Mr. Walter Dean Myers' words, and maybe Mr. Walter Dean Meyer would get mad if I copied him. April 4th. I was very glad to hear that Mr. Walter Dean Myers is not the sort of person who would get mad at a boy for using some of his words. And thank you for typing up my secret poem, the one that uses so many of Mr. Walter Dean Myers' words. And I like what you put at the top, inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. That sounds good to my ears. Now, no one will think I just copied because I couldn't think of my own words. They will know I was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Can you make a text-to-text connection? Were you inspired by one of the Who Would Win books? Don't put it on the board yet, okay? Is Mr. Walter Dean Myers a live person? And if he is, do you think he could ever come to our city, to our school, to our class? And if he did, we should hide the poems with his words. Hide it real good, just in case he would get mad about it. April 9th. No. I can't do it. You should do it. You're the teacher. We're going to stop right there. Next week, we will pick up on April 12th, which is page 54.